take it from Barack Obama when it comes to if those chicken checks are something that are influencing you to vote for Bob Ferguson.
He sent you a check. Do not fall for that okie doke. Don't be bamboozled.
Don't be bamboozled by Bob Ferguson. This segment is brought to you by Eastside Weight Loss Clinic. Some patients, like me, can lose 20 to 30 pounds in a month or two. Schedule your free 15-minute consultation today at eastsideweightlossclinic.com. So Barack Obama campaigning for Kamala Harris, and he's bringing up the checks that Donald Trump sent out. Remember how controversial that was? During the pandemic, it was like the stimulus checks, and it was like Donald J. Trump, and the left lost its mind. Like, oh my gosh, this is an election year, and he's just trying to buy votes, and Barack Obama called him out for it on stage in Atlanta. Here it is.
Some folks will be like, well, Donald Trump sent me a check during the pandemic. No, y'all know, because I've heard this. I know y'all, some of you heard that. Hey, let me make sure y'all understand this. Joe Biden sent you a check during the pandemic, just like I gave people relief during the Great Recession. The thing is, we didn't put our name on it because it wasn't about feeding our egos. It wasn't about advancing our politics. It was about helping people. That's the difference. Don't be giving them credit for that. Come on. He sent you a check. Do not fall for that okie doke. Don't be bamboozled.
Don't be bamboozled. I agree. Don't fall for that okie doke. Don't be bamboozled. But of course, the reason somebody sent it to me is we have another politician who is sending out checks with his name on them in an election year in a very transparent attempt to buy votes. Who was it? Bob Ferguson. Remember, Bob Ferguson started sending out these chicken checks. You know, it wasn't he had sued these chicken and tuna companies for price fixing, and he could have very easily made the chicken and tuna companies give refunds or rebates to customers who had been, victimized by the price fixing and done that directly. But no, he said, you're going to give us the money. And then we're going to go out in my office and we're going to send checks to Washingtonians. And not only did he send checks with his name on it, he sent this letter along with it. And remember, this is right in the middle of his campaign for governor. Good news, you're receiving a refund. Tell me this doesn't scream campaign letter. As Attorney General, one of my top priorities is protecting consumers from fraud and deception. When corporations do not play by the rules, my team and I take action. And then he said, enclosed is a check for $120. I'm returning this money to Washingtonians like you who were most harmed by this illegal conduct. I mean, it just screams campaign letter. And the reason I know that for Bob Ferguson, this wasn't about getting money back in the hands of low-income people who'd been victimized by the price fixing of chicken and tuna companies is we know that hundreds, if not thousands of those checks went to people who never bought this chicken and tuna because they never had to prove that they bought the chicken and tuna to get a check. Hundreds of the checks, if it's any indication, we were sent dozens and dozens of examples of checks that were sent to people who were deceased. In one instance, somebody who'd been deceased for more than 40 years. Checks were sent to people who said that in no way, shape, or form could they be considered low income, that they were actually very wealthy and never should have gotten a check. And so it was very clear that for Bob Ferguson's office, they took very little care in making sure that these checks and these funds from these chicken and tuna companies from this lawsuit were sent very specifically to low-income families who were hoodwinked by these companies and spent more for canned chicken and tuna. If he had done that and had the companies actually make it right with the consumers and customers, we wouldn't have probably even talked about it at all. But it was like, give us the money. I'm going to take a cut from my office, and then I'm going to send checks with my name on it and this letter about how great I am and my office is out to people, and I'm just going to get them to as many people as possible in an election year. And let's again take it from Barack Obama when it comes to if those chicken checks are something that are influencing you to vote for Bob Ferguson.
He sent you a check. Do not fall for that okie doke. Don't be bamboozled.
Don't be bamboozled by Bob Ferguson and his chicken checks. I gotta love that. I mean, that is Barack Obama dissing Bob Ferguson.
I wish we had time to turn that into an ad for Dave.
Oh, well, I turned it into a social media ad, which I found very nice.
Good.
But it's just that perfect line he said is, when you do that, when you put your name on a check, he said, we sent out money. I didn't put my name on it because it wasn't about feeding my ego or getting attention to my political ambitions. And so it's like perfect, because that's exactly what Bob Ferguson's doing. Feeding his egos, trying to help his political career. And it's not coming from me. It's coming from former President Barack Obama. Good stuff. Can't make up something that delicious.